5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Are you a fan of video games? Do you enjoy half-thought-out battle plans? Are you a fucking moron? Well, then you're in the right place. Grab a controller and watch your back because the team killing glitchtards have just entered the chat. Ooh, baby. What do you know? It's been a hot minute, I know. But don't fear, TKG fans. We're back again for another raucous episode of Team Killing Glitchtards. My name's Josh. I'm here today with Adam.
Howdy.
Before we get into the topic at hand, I would just like to get the cheap plug out of the way right here at Game Rage. Oh, no, I should have said Team Killing Glitchtards because that's the name of the podcast. Fuck, I fucked it up. All right, but anyway, if you want to, you can view all of our other shit at GameRageMagazine.com. We have a plethora of podcasts for your viewing pleasure, not just this gaming one. We have podcasts, All Gas, No Trash, talks about everything up to date with music, current music trends, current local music trends, shit you probably never even heard of before. You'll likely hear on All Gas, No Trash. The Anime Syndicate, obviously you know what the fuck that's about. It's about fucking anime. The Butt Fuck Nowhere Show, that has no topics, just about whatever the fuck we don't have a podcast for that fucking, which at this point is dwindling. We may be running out of topics to talk about on BFN because we have so many podcasts like.
I don't think that's true.
I'm making a joke. I don't think it's true at all. But I'm just saying that we have so many to choose from that are topic specific that, you know, CUP, the Central Intelligence Podcast. We have movies and TV, Star Wars, pro wrestling. We have Panel to Panel, the comic book podcast. And also Without Censor, the Game Rage interview podcast, which has some heavy fucking hitter interviews on there. And they're all amazing. They're all great. And you guys should check them out. We have many more to come in the future for that as well.
I feel like what BFN is maybe becoming, from what I've seen or heard, is it's kind of the meta podcast where we talk about everything that's happening with the podcast and also our own personal lives. That's true.
That is kind of what that's becoming. And then
somewhere in between there.
It's like a combination of that and then the shit that we don't have. We don't have fucking a podcast to cover that topic, so we throw it on there, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like if I wanted to talk about underwear, talk about it on the BFN show, you know, I don't know. So anyways, GameRageMagazine.com. You can follow us at Game Rage Magazine on TikTok and Instagram, at Game Rage Mag on Twitter /X. Adam has All Gas No Trash Official, which is on Instagram. And if you want to hear all the cutting edge, razor's edge, I dare say, information. Hey, yo. If you want to hear all that in terms of music and shit you've never even heard of or thought about, you want to find the newest shit as it is made. If you want to hear Adam in the studio with the artist actually making the song that has not come out yet, that's where you need to be.
If you want to see me hold a gun to artists in the studio like Phil Spector, listen to All Gas No Trash.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, speaking of music, stay tuned and be ready. Prepare your anuses for May the 15th, because we're not only going to get one, we're not only going to get two, we're going to get 3 full studio albums dropped by the one and only Millennial Frog.
The gentleman known as Millennial Frog.
Correct. The gentleman known as Millennial Frog, the #1 artist that is signed with Game Rage Magazine record label, which I don't even know if that's what it's called, but I guess that's what we're just going to call it because fuck, there's no other name for it. So also, if you're an upcoming artist and you want to have signed to a fucking fake ass label, hit us up. We'll fucking represent you.
At least to inflate.
Well, at least
inflate your presence, or to hopefully elevate you to the point to where you can get paid to be an artist.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's the goal. So, anyways, all right. Team Killing Glitchtards. I know this is only probably episode fucking 3, maybe. Yeah, I think this is episode 3.
All right, but before we actually start with the fighting game stuff, I just want to throw this out there because since we are on a video game podcast, this is a little bit of a plug and also a little bit, kicking some, throwing some dirt in the eye. a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
And I don't mean this maliciously, but so I reached out to a fellow Twitch streamer that I watch whose name was formerly fucking Broby SR, which it was written in BROBEY _SR. SR meaning speedrunner. So I've been watching this guy for like a minute, and he holds world records in various games. Probably the one that he potentially is most known for is he holds multiple records for Jet Set Radio on Dreamcast. I think also in PC. You know, it's been on multiple platforms at this point, and he's played different versions of the game just to hold the record in all of them. But I think to me, he's a well-respected speedrunner within the speedrunner community. And I reached out to him. I said, hey, brother, reach for my hand, brother. I reached out to him on Discord and I said, hey, brother, do you want to listen to a
pre-RA podcast about wrestling, do you?
No, I just told him straight out, like, hey, man, I've been doing this thing with a friend. We've been doing podcasts and such, and we'd like to feature you on our interview podcast because we're trying to expose ourselves to different topics and things. And I think speedrunning to me was something that I was personally interested in. And I've watched a lot of your speedruns on your stream and such. And then I also kind of gave him a feel on what I was doing personally, aside from Game Rage stuff. I talked about like music things, and he gave me a long-winded answer to say no. And it actually hurt me a little bit.
Oh, no.
Because I didn't like what I heard, which was that he felt like he didn't have much to say, or he felt unworthy, or he didn't think we were worth his time, or vice versa.
He didn't think he was worth our time.
And I was thinking, dude, you are respected amongst your peers within the speedrunning community, and I'm just trying to put a spotlight onto you to ask what drives you to be in the speedrunning community? Why do you speedrun at all? What are your favorite games? Things like that. I want to know why.
Yeah.
And he said no. And it's just an ongoing thing that I've personally been experiencing, reaching out to numerous people, and to hear that from him, to say that I just can't believe people are selling themselves short to say that they don't think they have an interesting story to tell. And it's not, I don't know, man. I really am fascinated by people, and for them to undervalue what they do because it seems trivial, or it might, whatever it might be. I just can't believe it, man.
I can't either. And I will say this, because I don't know if he's going to listen to this or not. But if you are listening right now, Broby SR, I just want to say, ironically enough, we're not actually worth anyone's time. So we're a couple of fucking we're idiots. All right. Yeah. So now, granted, we just like talking to people, and this type of thing that we do when we interview people, there's no pressure at all. We literally sit here and we pre-game the interview to death because we don't want to look stupid. So we will prep for this hard. And what ends up happening is we have these questions set up, and we generally maybe don't even get to most of them, because it just turns into a conversation about whatever it is that we're talking about. Like for Ed Erdelak, the author, we ended up talking about, obviously, him writing books and his experiences in Hollywood and making a movie and all the shit that he was doing and getting screwed by Star Wars. And, it just turned into this thing where those aren't stories that he's necessarily really told people before, but it just turned into something that was good. And even if you don't think you have anything important to say, don't worry. we will pull that out of you. That's our job as in my opinion, as an interviewer or someone who's good at interviewing people. You got to pull the stories out. And the way we do it's very conversational, and these things come about naturally. And trust me, you're going to say something that I'm going to be like, hey, wait a minute, hold on. Let's expand upon that real quick. And where'd that come from? How did you, what happened here? That you may not think is interesting to you, but that's because you lived it. You did it. It's interesting to us, therefore potentially interesting to our listeners. So I would just like to say that if you are listening, that we would want to have you, because I didn't get to talk to you. This is all through Adam. So we definitely want to have you on, and I'm not trying to jerk you off or anything, but I'm interested to know the things of, like, why did you choose Jet Set Radio? Was that a game that you just liked? And because obviously speedrunning is not something that you're just going to obviously immediately be able to do. You have to know the game in and out to be able to speedrun it in a record time. Mm-hmm. You have to have memorized everything. Every move that you do is it's basically an experiment in memorization. Like, it has to be. And that's a legitimate skill to have. And again, I would want to know how'd you even get into speedrunning? And sure, maybe he doesn't want to come on, but maybe there's someone else we could find who's a speedrunner who would be interested in coming on and we could talk to. If Broby really does not want to do it, because it doesn't matter if you think you're interesting. The fact is that we're asking you to be on, so we at least think you're interesting, whether you believe so or not. So hell, just give us a shot. And if it turns out that you end up not thinking you were interesting enough, I think you'll end up being surprised. I think you'll surprise yourself with how interesting you actually are when you talk to someone else that has really no idea about you. So anyways, I guess oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
I was just going to say, so this was a really long segment to plug Broby's Twitch stream, which is BROBEY __ because now he changed his name. I don't know if that is a note in changing himself, that he feels that he no longer feels qualified to hold the rank of speedrunner, so he's like omitting that.
Oh, because he hasn't done it in a while.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but
hey man, if you still hold the record, you're still one. You know?
Yeah, I forgot what he's been playing lately. Trying to think.
And also, while you're thinking, if you do go there to his channel and stream, you really should say, hey man, you want to listen to a pretty all right podcast? Or you should say something about, hey man, we heard those Game Rage guys talking about you and we really wanted you to go on. And you should goad him and harass him until he tells us yes. And then, then you can stop harassing him once he comes on. But, you should do that. I would. I'm actually going to start going into streams and harassing him. I'm going to make fake accounts and I'm just going to be like, hey man, we heard about you on the Team Killing Glitchcard pod. You should really go on and talk about it. Hey man, I heard the same thing. Have conversations with myself, logged into multiple devices with different accounts. Oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be a fun experiment. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah. I'm really trying to think of what he's been streaming lately. He's been playing this weird. He plays really fucking weird games.
Oh yeah.
He's playing this game called Ill Bleed on Dreamcast. And
so is it actually on a Dreamcast system or is it an emulation?
I think he does both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he does both, but I think he actually owns the game itself.
Oh, that's cool.
Or rather the game and the console. And this game is about some girl that is into horror shit, but she does not horror shit, but horror.
Not hood rat shit.
And she likes horror things, and she doesn't want to go outside for some reason, and her friends goad her into going. And then when they go to this horror carnival thing or whatever, her friends disappear.
Damn.
And you have to go through the whole fucking game to find your friends and get the fuck out and all that shit.
Interesting. You know what would be a cool collaboration video with that guy? Would be us playing against each other, try to speedrun fucking Jet Set just to see how good he is compared to how, like, him not even picked it up for maybe who knows how many years, and then us just trying to do it and him just destroying us and being like, see, look, he hasn't picked it up in fucking 5 or 6 years and he's whooping our ass, in the speed time because we're fucking idiots and don't know how to play this game.
Yeah, and man, talk about if you care about video games.
Yeah.
watching somebody get to the point of getting to a world record, what a fucking ride, dude.
Oh yeah.
Because the pain, dude, the literal fucking pain. Because there's people that are able to stream, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Whatever amount that they can dedicate. And on every stream, man, something goes bad, reset. And you do that a million times over.
I know.
And you're slightly going insane because once you don't get to a certain point and you fuck something up, I mean, you're talking about fractions of a second. Once you get to the optimized route for the entire game and you miss something, you got to reset the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
If you're halfway through a game and you fuck something up by a millisecond, reset. And talk about the journey, man. It may take, who the fuck knows how long it actually takes to get to even the top 10 of speedy running a game, dude.
And then how does that work? Is every time, because you're obviously streaming it, so then is that what you submit as the world record when you actually? So it's every attempt you're doing. It's not just practice. Every attempt is you're trying to do it.
Well, I think you clip. Let's say you get a good run going. Well, it's available. Your stream is available on Twitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can get it from there. But since OBS also streams and records video, you can just clip the part.
God, just how many? I wonder how many thousands of hours he has of or how much video he actually time it took to actually get the record. You know what I'm saying? From when he sat down and said, "All right, I'm gonna do this," to then hitting it. What hour was it that he hit that he did it, that he completed the record?
I asked him about that. I asked him, I'm like, where do you think your best runs come in? Because you stream roughly 4 to 5 hours, right?
Okay.
And I think for him to warm up his hands and just to get in the motion of doing things, I think it at least takes an hour and a half to 2. So I feel as though the best runs are probably coming around the 3 to 4 hour mark towards the end when you start not giving a shit because you're on autopilot at that point. I feel that's it's equal parts not giving a shit and you're so spaced out, or maybe you're dialed in and you're I don't know. I think your best hours are probably towards the end of your whole session.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
But I asked him and he gave me some response, but I forgot what it was. So, but anyways, that was a whole long fucking monologue about the streamer named Broby. So, and also go ahead and follow him.
Yeah, go follow him and check him out. And also, if you want to see us stream, we do it every once in a while at Game Rage Magazine on Twitch. And then what's yours? Do you even want to put it out?
No, I don't want, because I mean, I probably could do myself a service by talking about my Twitch stream, but funny enough, I've actually been streaming, well, not consistently, but on Fridays when I pretty much got everything taken care of as far as stuff this goes and other things, I'll start from probably 11 to 3 in the morning playing 4 hours of Fortnite. And I don't know what happened. I'm not really sure what happened, but I think I went from like 50 to 82 followers.
Oh, nice.
On Twitch. And I'm sure most of them are bots, but some of them I think are actually people.
Yeah.
And I haven't been streaming all that much, so it's been kind of a surprise. Have you been gathering?
Yeah, you know what's funny is I think we have like 5 or 6 followers or whatever, subscribe, whatever. I don't know what the fuck it's called on Twitch, but we have like 5 or 6 that are on the thing. And I will say this, every time I stream, and again, it's maybe once a week at best. And I mean, there's 5, 6 people in the chat. It's not any of the people that follow us necessarily, but there's people in there. They're talking. They don't seem like bots. I tell them, I just hype up all the other shit, which that could be maybe a reason why we've seen an increase in numbers, because it's like, oh, you get 5 people here this week that went and checked it out. Maybe they told a couple people, or whatever. All I use Twitch for is an excuse for me to play video games, because if I'm not doing something related to this with downtime, I immediately feel like a piece of shit.
I do as well.
And so that's where, like I said, like we said, kind of at the crux of this company is to, we said it on the CUP podcast, but I don't know, the crux of this whole thing is to basically have a valid excuse to do the things we like and turn it into content. And so now I can do the things that I enjoy doing. So I do enjoy playing video games, and granted, I'm not playing them a whole shit ton, but when I do have time to play them, I'm hitting the stream button, and usually I'm playing Helldivers, or I've been doing SnowRunner fucking lately because I enjoy those games because it's like you can just check out and just drive in the mud, and then they got mods in it now, so you can get fucking like trucks that are like super fucking crazy and out there. It's just fucking fun to dick around with. So I'll stream some of that every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, go follow us on there if you want to do that. And then maybe if it picks up, maybe I'll do it more. I don't know. Or maybe we'll have some meetup where people can come play with us on something, and we'll just all stream it or some shit. I don't know if people start listening to this fucking podcast. if we start consistently doing it again, which is gonna hopefully be a thing. That's what we're trying to do. That's why we're starting it. That's why we're doing it now. We're doing it today.
Yeah,
it's gonna be out basically immediately the same day we're recording it. I'm just gonna put it out. So anyway, yeah. So now that we've got that stuff out of the way, let's get into the main course, which is going to be fighting games, as you can see by the title of this episode. Maybe I should put Broby. I should put his thing in there / fighting games, like just so that people know we're kind of talking about this guy for fucking 15 minutes. But anyways, fighting games. So Adam has a lot more experience with fighting games than I do. I will cede that right off the bat. Now, I'm not inexperienced. I love fighting games. I've been playing fighting games since I was a kid. For me, my first experiences with fighting games were, in an arcade, maybe not an arcade proper, but, at the pizza joint, or potentially really for me, it was the batting cages. That was where I played. I think the first arcade game I've ever played was at a batting cage, and it was fucking Metal Slug was the first arcade game I actually played. But the first fighting game I played was Mortal Kombat 2. And it was in a stand-up arcade at a fucking batting cage. And it was probably the coolest thing I had ever seen at the time, because it's those little sprites they're real. It's like the real people. And what a great way to undercut the limitations of a system graphically by then just saying, cool, we'll just take real people and we'll just insert them in there. They're a little pixelated, but I mean, they generally look like real people because they are.
Groundbreaking stuff, man.
Yeah, it really was. And you're fighting, and as you're hitting them, blood's flying out, and it's fucking cool as shit. You can do these fatalities, which back then, we didn't have the internet. That wasn't a thing. So to learn the Mortal Kombat combos and the fatalities, you had to figure it out, or you had to know somebody. And I remember there was someone that knew the Scorpion fucking fatality move. And
yeah,
dude, every time they would get to the point, they would do it and just fucking murder you. And they would never tell anybody how to do it. And you try to look, and they'd literally turn so that you couldn't fucking see and you're like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, dude, that's one of the worst offenses, because it is smart to withhold information from other people so they don't beat you. But I feel fighting games are notorious for that, or were notorious for that, to gatekeep knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of fucked up. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, you have to figure it out on your own. That was the rite of passage, was like, again, even just doing like with Sub-Zero, like to free somebody. I fucking had no idea. I think it's like fucking back fucking low kick or some shit like that. But that's why everybody was button mashing, because you're trying to figure out, as you're fighting someone, you're trying to also figure out what the moves are.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. There is no guide. There is no, I can't just go on the internet and look it up real quick. Yeah, sure. Maybe there might be a Mortal Kombat. Remember those with the strategy guides? Remember those things? Sure, there might have been one of those that had all the info, but I was a kid. I didn't have money or access to be able to buy that.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure it out as I go along. And yeah, just getting beat by people. But what was your first arcade fighting game, and I guess I should say your first fighting game that you played, and what was the experience you had with it?
Oh shit, man.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah, dude. I still have. I remember being 4 years old, setting up the TV to have the cables for the Super Nintendo inside the fucking the tube, the CRT television. I remember doing that myself so I could play Super Mario. And dude, I loved fucking Street Fighter 2. I think it's the quintessential fighting game. It's the one that changed everything. I know there's other games that are probably more popular at this point. I'd probably say maybe Tekken. Yeah. Actually, that's actually more debatable now because the turnout for Tekken 8 for Evo hasn't been as strong. Street Fighter is the game I think that is having the highest amount of registrations for Evo. So maybe Street Fighter is the king of fighters right now.
I mean, yeah, I think it really might actually be.
But as far as the game itself, man, I loved everything. I remember having the box art with Blanca kind of flying through the air, and then Ryu's knocked down the floor, and then Chun-Li's doing her fucking kicks. And I remember playing that game and not knowing how to do a goddamn thing. And then I had a cousin who pretty much showed me the ropes for games and stuff for specifically for fighting games. And I mean, dude, I had the most difficult time learning how to do a sonic boom with Guile, which is holding back for 2 seconds and then pressing punch and forward simultaneously in order to do the command for that specific special move. But once I did that, I didn't understand that there's more to strategy than just pressing the buttons and throwing out projectiles or doing the special moves. I mean, dude, I don't think I actually got an understanding of how to play a fucking fighting game until I was probably Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 4, I fucked around and I knew what I was doing because I knew how to do all the things for a character, but I didn't understand the fundamentals of how to play the game to get good at it. And but other than that, like playing Street Fighter 2 as a kid, probably one of my favorite experiences. I think it has one of the greatest soundtracks for any fucking video game. I think the character designs are probably among the best for any fucking video game. I learned geography because of fucking Street Fighter.
Nice. Yeah, it's true because you travel all around the world.
I knew where things were because I was so curious where every fighter was from. And I think I actually developed my taste for music because of Street Fighter. And I mean, dude, I remember going to play. There was actually an arcade here that was right next to this place called Circle J Pizza. It was a proper arcade, and it shut down probably when I was 5, I think, because I only went there once. But I remember playing Champion Edition there. Champion Edition is the second iteration of Street Fighter 2, which allowed you to play as the boss characters. So got Mike Bison, or M. Bison, who is the boxer, but in the US he's called Balrog. So the way that they clarify that discrepancy between 3 characters, there's a character named Vega, who's the claw guy, the Spanish ninja as they call him, and then there's Bison, who's the guy that looks like a Russian dictator. So those 3 characters are in Japanese, have their names switch around. Balrog is called M. Bison because it's technically supposed to be Mike Tyson.
Right.
Vega is actually Bison, the guy with the red hat and the dictator uniform and the cape and all that shit. And Balrog is the Spanish ninja. And then for us in the US, Balrog is the boxer, Vega is the Spanish ninja, and M. Bison is the fucking dictator. But in order to like just avoid all that bullshit, they call them by, I guess, what their utility or what their shit is. So Vega, the guy with the Spanish ninja, Claw. Boxer is Balrog / M. Bison. And then dictator is Vega or M. Bison. So it's very confusing. I know that. I know that's very confusing, but I remember playing Champion Edition. Dude, I remember going to Laughlin and being obsessed with playing like Champion Edition all the time. And I always like forced my cousin that introduced me, or rather kind of showed me the ropes of fighting games. I would always ask if he wanted to play. He obviously would kick my ass at everything, but and then as far as other games go, or is that more or less the...
Well, yeah, that answers the question, but go ahead.
Yeah, so then I had different experiences for different games. I mean, as a Mexican, you go to Mexican supermarkets, so they have, and I have a theory. This is why King of Fighters or SNK games like Fatal Fury, and Samurai Showdown were popular with Mexicans, is because they were in Mexican laundromats or supermarkets,
right?
Because I forgot, it's called a Neo Geo machine, and the Neo Geo machine had the cartridges or whatever to host 4 games in one thing, in one cabinet.
Yeah.
So it had like Samurai Showdown, it had Fatal Fury, it had a baseball game, it had fucking Bubble Bobble or Puzzle Bobble from Taito. I fucking love Puzzle Bobble, dude. It's like one of my favorite games.
Yeah, me too.
And I got exposed to that. And then Mortal Kombat 2. I mean, dude, that was like another one that I was really into because I thought Scorpion was probably one of the coolest characters ever because he's like, you know, an undead ninja
basically.
And being 5 years old, you're like, that. I like those two things, undead and ninja.
yeah. So I'm down. I'm down for this.
And yeah, I do. I mean, Mortal Kombat 2 is just one of those memorable games. I mean, Johnny Cage.
Oh yeah,
doing the friendship where he like signs an autograph and he just stands there very pompously because he's got his head in his ass. And you get to play as like Shang Tsung finally. And I don't know, man. That I fucking love that game. That is one of the greatest ones. And then somewhere around the age of 9 or 10 when the N64 came out, and I think this game was ported to the PS1. And then it was ported. Well, the version that I played was the N64. One of the greatest fighting games ever is Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which had every fucking character up until that point, from Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 1. Everybody was there. All the ninjas, like every version, every ninja, fucking Noob Saibot, Ermac, Rain, Smoke, Reptile, Sub-Zero, both versions. What another great way to, hey, like, we don't maybe have the budget to have multiple different characters, so let's just take the same guy and just make him a different fucking color. A palette swap. Yeah, it's just a different color, and we'll give him a name and a different gimmick. And that was cool as shit to do. Yeah, because they did that with a bunch of characters. So I thought that was fucking sweet, and it was a cool way to do it and not, you know, make it seem like it's just bullshit. So, I mean, at least me as a kid, and even to this day, I still think that's fucking cool. What's I don't know. Were you done with that? Yeah, I mean, I don't know where else to go.
All right. So what would you say? I don't know if you even have an answer for this, but what is a game that you would say that's a fighting game that is probably the most underrated?
Underrated?
Yeah, like one that's maybe like kind of it was really, you enjoyed it a lot, but maybe it was like an outlier. Maybe it didn't get a lot of steam, or it just didn't get play very much by people, but you enjoyed it.
I don't think this game, at least in my eyes, it was underrated because it was compared to Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter, the audience for it was significantly lower. But one franchise that I love was like Soul Calibur. Yeah. Soul Calibur 2 to me is one of the greatest fighting games ever. I think it's probably my top 3. And I played the shit out of that. I mean, I used to run sets all the time with pretty much the entire cast, and I was pretty fucking good at it. I never actually found out how good I was. I didn't know how to find out where tournaments were at and shit, but I would say Soul Calibur 2 is one of the greatest fighting games ever. The movement in it, there hasn't been a game in the franchise that could replicate what that game accomplished, especially because, I mean, one of the things that they did was they created a console exclusive character with Zelda being on GameCube. Yeah. PS2 had Heihachi from Tekken, and then Xbox got Spawn. I played the Xbox version and I love the shit out of it. I would say, yeah, that's probably one of the most underrated games. I I wish it would get more love, but I mean, judging by the reception of Soul Calibur 6, I mean, I'm glad they made the game, but I don't know if Bandai Namco would take a chance in making another version of that game. I would like to see it, but fucked if I know.
Yeah, I think the concept is sound. I think it's different enough from it's not just a regular fighting game because people have, you know, weapons and, you know, there's a little more to it than just, you know, hand-to-hand fist fighting basically.
Yeah, it's great lore too. It's like it's old I don't know why I'm saying old world history, but I feel like it takes place in the 1500s or the 1400s or something like that. And the characters are just great across the board. Like I love every single one of those characters. But anyways, you were gonna say,
but for me though, I did also love Soul Calibur. Like Soul Calibur 2 was that was the first Soul Calibur game I played, and I also played it on the Xbox. And I remember just fucking Spawn, man, just the cool little entrances for everybody too, and then they all have to talk shit at the beginning of the thing when they're being introduced. Man, that's just fucking cool, right?
Yeah. And
for me though, the underrated game that I don't know if I've even met anyone else who's played this fucking game, but for me, it was a game that I fucking loved on the Super Nintendo, and it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighter.
I remember that, yeah.
And I fucking loved the shit out of that game.
It's a good game, dude.
It's fucking so good. The cast of characters was awesome because you didn't just have, obviously, the 4 turtles, but you had a multitude of good and bad guys from the series and from the whole lore in the universe. I felt like the fighting itself was cool. It was fun. The stages were excellently done. The soundtrack was fucking cool as shit, and I just enjoyed it. And it's finally gotten I don't want to say a resurgence because I don't think people. I purchased the new whatever it is, the Ninja Turtle fucking pack. That's like the remake of a bunch of it's like 10 or 15 different games. I think I don't know exactly what the number is, but there's a bunch of games, and the only reason I bought it is because the only place that you can get a modern version of that to play on your console, unless you're going to emulate it, or illegally emulate it, I guess, is in the new that Ninja Turtles whatever fucking pack or whatever it is. So basically, that's the only reason I bought the game. And I have to say, I do not regret it because, man, it was cool. Brought back some cool memories. And I was thinking we should do, I don't know if it would be like a team killing Glitchtards special event, but we should do like a stream where we just put up the stream on the thing, and then we do like do it on Twitch or whatever. And we just do a split screen. We either do fighting games or we do like, I don't know, like Halo or some sort. We could do a multitude of things, and we all just get here and we'll do a little tournament amongst ourselves. I mean, in the fighting games, I'll have to figure out, like, I'll have to pick a game that none of us really know that well, so that way we're all kind of like even, because obviously if we did Street Fighter, you're gonna whoop all our asses, but we'd have to do something like that. But that'd be kind of fun to do, and then just fuck around and, you know, do like a fucking stream or whatever. But anyways, so you had mentioned your top 3. I'm gonna obviously go ahead and assume that Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition is going to be the number 1.
No. I mean, Street Fighter 2 is probably maybe going to be number 1 because it's not only the one that changed the thing.
That's what I meant. Street Fighter 2. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I guess I think I played every iteration of the game anyway. So I'll just say every iteration of Street Fighter 2 is probably going to be number 1.
Yeah.
So then
what's number 2 and number 3?
Shit, I might have to push out Soul Calibur. But I fucked that up because it's like I said they're underrated.
Yeah, true.
But man, crossover games. Oh my god.
So like Marvel versus Capcom?
Oh my god, dude. I blew my load when I was 10 years. Who the fuck knows how old I was?
Yeah.
When I saw the arcade cabinet for Marvel versus Capcom. Oh man, when you find out how to make Ryu transform to emulate another fireball throwing character, Akuma, the demon karate guy, you have to do like a quarter circle motion back and press, I forgot what amount of buttons. I don't remember what it was. When I figured out how to do that on accident, I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. And I basically forced my brother to take me to a pizza place to play that fucking cabinet. And then eventually they took it out. I got really sad. And then, dude, when I went to Laughlin is kind of like the place where a lot of shit that I found out.
Yeah.
I mean, when I found out Marvel vs. Capcom 2 existed in this big ass fucking cabinet, I mean, I lost my shit, man, because it had all the characters from the previous games, like X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel superheroes. I forgot what other crossover games that led up to Marvel versus Capcom 2, but that was a juggernaut, dude. That was one of the coolest things that has ever happened, to have comic book characters fight off against fighting game characters.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the fucking greatest things ever.
What was your go-to characters in those? Because that was the one where you could team up with you. They could team each other. Like there was like, because you know what I'm talking about, right? Where they'd have
assists.
Yeah, there was like, it was like a thing where you'd pick like two or three characters, and then like you can swap them in and out.
Yeah.
And then they can like assist each other. Yeah, like you can do combo moves and stuff with them.
Yeah, because I was a child, I was really drawn. Well, I enjoyed the whole cast, but for whatever reason, I would have Mega Man and then Iron Man and what's his face? The other bastard, War Machine.
Oh, okay.
Which basically were mostly functionally the same.
The same thing.
They were just a palette swap of one another, but that would probably be my team for the fun of it, I guess. But Strider Hiryu, who's like a ninja, he had his own game in the Capcom brand, I guess. But that was like way back in the NES days, and I don't remember if he had a Super Nintendo game. But he's a really cool character to play with in any crossover game that he appears for the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Spiral was really interesting from X-Men because she had like these knives that would be a protection or whatever. She could throw them. She could teleport. I mean, the whole cast was cool, man. Cable from the X-Men was also bad because badass because he had like the big ass. He had the super where he pull out his fucking giant ass gun and just shoot a beam and shit. But I don't know, man. I just enjoyed the whole fucking cast. I know that probably didn't answer. I gave you like 3 characters, but I could spend the whole fucking time.
So then the Marvel versus Capcom games are like your number 2.
Yeah, and then probably third would be Capcom versus SNK, which is probably 2 juggernaut franchises, although SNK, the reason that they made the game was because SNK was in dire straits economically. So Capcom made the game with them to rejuvenate interest in the SNK universe of characters. And I would say probably that is tied for second because I love both those games like on equal grounds and for different reasons. Capcom versus SNK was more not quite bombastic or stylish as Marvel versus Capcom, where you can launch a character into the air and do air combos and stuff. This one was more of a traditional fighter, was 1v1, and you had the best characters from both franchises, both companies, from King of Fighters and Fatal Fury and The Art of Fighting, all those characters from SNK. And then you had Street Fighter characters for Capcom, and then obscure ones from their other obscure franchises like Darkstalkers or Vampire Savior. But yeah, those games are probably 2 and 3, and maybe Soul Calibur's somewhere on there.
In there, okay. So what are the games you play now? What's your main games? I mean, obviously it's Street Fighter fucking 6, right? But are you playing anything else?
I'm waiting. I actually wanted to I wanted to look into more of, because Garo, which is like a follow-up to the Fatal Fury franchise from SNK.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a franchise that's been dormant for a good amount of years. Like I can't tell you how long it's been, but they're bringing it back. And this is a franchise that is not the most famous franchise at this point, because King of Fighters is like a 3v3 game that is probably like the most popular.
Yeah.
So this is just one-on-one. There's no teams or nothing like that. But the way that it's presented, like you have to see the trailer, but it's really badass. It's like more inspired by comic books. I feel this is maybe where Street Fighter 6 should have gone potentially, and they didn't. And Fatal Fury did it, and they did it to execute, like, perfect execution. And the way the game has been presented as far as the trailer goes, I'm very excited for the franchise. So I'm thinking about picking that up and playing that once it releases. But Street Fighter 6 was the game that I was playing, but that has mostly fallen to the wayside because of all this shit.
Right, yeah.
And
what's it called? It's called Garo?
Garo.
How do you spell it?
Garou.
ROU. Mark of the Wolf. Oh no, wait, that's Garo. Is it like is it a port of an older version of itself?
No,
or
it's a brand new game
from the bottom.
Brand new game, but the trailer for it is fucking amazing.
Man, it got a 9 out of 10 on. It gets a 9 out of 10 on Steam. The original, the Garo.
Yeah, it's a very good fighting game. Yeah, I've been playing Street Fighter 6 and I enjoyed the game in an immense amount. I thought it was a massive upgrade from Street Fighter 5. But right now, I haven't been playing it because I already got to where I wanted to. And also the cast of characters that they have right now.
Yeah.
They pretty much finished the first season of the DLC as far as the characters go. And none of them really captured my attention, and the thing that I'm waiting around is for my character, but who the fuck knows if that's even going to happen, because I don't know. So I kind of lost motivation to play that game.
Yeah, I get you. In terms of the competitive side, I know you've been to some tournaments.
Yeah.
But have you actually competed in anything?
Yeah, when Super Arcade came back the second time, they opened up in Azusa. So they would host Street Fighter 5 tournaments, and the turnouts weren't all that great. So I think it was just not happening all that much.
Right. But
it was like my first opportunity to play in a tournament, and I think I got like third place. But yeah, that was a very limited experience, but it was a lot of fun because going out to Super Arcade was probably like the highlight of 2018, 2019 for me, to go out and play games that I really enjoyed with people and talking about like the meta of the game itself, and, you know, staying up to date on all the tournaments and stuff for the game itself.
Right,
like
right.
Who are the best players and all that shit. I don't know. It was just a lot of fun. And, yeah, I kind of wish I got more experience to play fighting games in that way, but it all kind of fell apart. And that was like my first experience of doing commentary on stream, which was a lot of fun, and I would love to do that again. But I mean, unless we have like a Game Rage fucking magazine Street Fighter 6 tournament and gave out a prize, like that's the only way I could do commentary.
Yeah, okay. I get you.
But
what do you have you I know Evo is like the big one, right? That's like the major, that's like the Super Bowl of tournaments, I guess, or WrestleMania of tournaments, for lack of a better term. Have you ever been to Evo?
Yeah, I went in 2019 before the pandemic.
And what was that like? I mean, obviously those are like the top tier dudes, right, that are there.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. It was kind of a horrible experience. Because the people that I went with, they booked the hotel not the day before we got there, so we could have shown up and like checked in.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Checked in. Like, so we left at 11 at night and arrived at 3 a.m. And then we found out we couldn't check into our room. So we stayed up for, I don't know, damn near north of 10 plus hours. So we hung around all the different casinos, and we just walked about. And then we went to Evo. We went to fucking Evo for the admissions and all that shit. And man, I was fucking angry. I was just angry. So that first day I hung out and just watched some of the players and shit. But I honestly have vague memories because I probably was like half asleep. So the first day I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
And the second day I went to go see this guy named FGC Laughing Coffin, who's like one of the friends I made at Super Arcade, and I don't know if I contributed to his win, but I mean, he's a great player and everything.
Yeah.
But he was playing this guy that was sponsored, and I was watching the fucking match, and somehow fucking Laughing Coffin made his way back. And what I was doing in the midst of this fucking match was like cheering him on. I'm like, yeah, you fucking got it, all this shit.
Yeah.
But this guy was getting like visibly angry. And he actually lost his shit. Like he lost, and then I think he actually threw his controller.
Damn.
But I don't know, him and his girlfriend, like me and his girlfriend were cheering him on, and I feel like I had an effect on the outcome of the match, dude.
Then you got in that guy's head, and he didn't know what to do. He's like, I can't get this dude out of my head.
And he was real pompous, dude. So I was like, fuck that, man.
Hey, you know what though? I feel like probably that's the general mentality of people that quote unquote are sponsored.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you're fucking sponsored, I mean, that means you must be pretty decent at least, or you at least can attract some kind of audience.
Yeah.
And shit, man, because they're paying you money to be there. So fuck, man, that sounds like, damn, what a dick. But then, like, obviously, if maybe he was on a deal where they're like, hey, if you don't win this fucking tournament, you're out. All right, we're dropping you. Do you remember who he was sponsored by?
No, I couldn't tell you. I don't remember what his name was, but I'm pretty sure I can look it up on, because there's this,
Oh, you could see the records or whatever. Probably.
Yeah, you could see the records of who he played.
How did he do the rest of the tournament? Did he
I think he got like top 128 or something.
Oh, okay.
Which, considering like
how many
players? Yeah, I think it was probably 2,000 players. Or
fuck, man, basically under in the top 150. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a great player. But you know, he doesn't get to practice because he's got a family and shit, so he doesn't get to practice as much as he would want to. And I think if he had the time to actually commit to it, he could probably be a lot better. But for considering that he has a life, and that probably sounds very Asheville like.
Does he still, like, I don't know if compete's the right word, but does he still compete in that stuff, or do you still talk to him? Or
I do still talk to him. I watch his stream and stuff because he still plays Street Fighter. But I think he's kind of like dialed back playing recently. But then he told me that he was going to go to Evo, so I think he's actually gonna start playing again because it's the tournament's like 3 months away.
Hey, you know, maybe that'd be an interesting guy to interview, because we can interview him like on the lead up of what his regimen is, and, you know, just talk about all that shit, right? And then maybe afterwards when he gets back, we could be like, hey, well, how did it go? Like, you know, that might be kind of a cool dude to talk to.
Yeah.
If he'd be interested. And don't think that you're fucking not interesting enough, God damn it, all right?
You sons of bitches.
If you're gonna say no, just say no, I don't like you guys. That's all you gotta say, and we'll just be done with it, all right?
Don't big time me, dude. I'm tired. I'm tired of this shit. I know you guys are too Hollywood for my ass, apparently, but yeah, dude, that's somebody I have been considering if you would be interested in doing an interview, possibly to talk about his competitive play in Street Fighter, but also maybe talk about Super Arcade. Yeah, a bit, just to do a retrospective on it and shit.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And then also, you know, talk about how does that affect, you know, you have a family, you have this, how does that stuff affect, you know, the level of commitment that you can give to. Obviously, you have to work a regular job. You're not, you know, a professional, quote unquote, you know, full-time gamer or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So that'd be a very interesting interview to talk to or to discuss. So just, I guess we're winding down to the end of the episode here, but in the end of it, for you personally, do you have any, or have you ever had any dreams or aspirations of being a legit competitive fighting game? I don't know what the word is. Player?
Maybe a short-lived one. But after playing tournaments and waiting around, because there are long intervals where you're not playing matches and shit, and you could be playing other matches and stuff. You know, it's like finding out when you go to college or when you go to a job and you find out you don't like it, that you end up moving on to something else, or just the part of finding out that you don't like it. The tournament aspect, I I did it for a few times and I enjoyed it, and I probably would do it again just to have fun. But to make it a living or to be the best of all, no, I don't think I want to hang my hat on that shit. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think I would. I mean, it'd be cool to be the best player for one instance. Like, it would be
Sure.
it'd be cool to be Evo champion. I'm not gonna lie, that would be fucking awesome. But there's no money in it, and I mean, it's a lot of time to commit for. It's a lot of time to commit when there's better things possibly to do, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah.
And as much as I love fighting games, like I don't see it now happening for me, or even back then. Like I think I loosely thought it would be a cool idea, but I mean, you get tired of a game once you play it so much too.
That's true. I do think that probably would wear. I mean, that'd wear on me. Literally playing the same shit over and over again. And that's the one thing is, you really do have to love it in order to get that good at it. Because if you just kind of like it, it's not gonna. Because once you get into that part of having to put in whatever the 10,000 hours or whatever it takes to get good at it, if you don't like playing this game after fucking 200 hours, you're just like, yeah, I think I'm good. And honestly, it kind of sucks, but that's kind of how I am with most games. Once I get maybe 20 hours in, if I get that far, I'm just kind of like, meh, this is all right, I guess. I mean, there are some games that keep my attention for much longer than that, but fighting games have been something to me that's never been a long-term commitment in terms of a fighting game. If I'm going to play a fighting game, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to play it for, a couple of weeks. If I want to fuck around with my buddies and fight each other, we'll fuck around and fight each other a little bit. But yeah, I've never actually took the time to sit down and, like some of the stuff you were telling me in the past. I mean, it's all very interesting about, how many frames it takes to make a move happen. And it's all very tactical and very analytical when it comes to choosing a character and utilizing that character in a way that can beat everyone. Because kind of like in professional sports, once you get to a certain level, everybody's kind of just as good. Then it comes down to the minutia. It comes down to, once you're at that certain level, you could be good, but like, okay, cool. What's going to be the difference between these two guys? It's going to be maybe a little bit of luck. And then it's going to be, oh, hey, this guy knows that the move you just did takes 2 frame rates to recover, or takes 2 frames or 3 frames to recover from. And that he has an opening where he can start this combo that only takes him 1 frame to do, so that you can't do anything to stop it. And then he's just going to bleed this combo to fucking kill you or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is a very interesting part of the game because, that does take a lot of skill. It takes a lot of memorization. It takes a lot of practice to get good at those things. And then it also takes a lot of practice to recognize when those moments happen and for you to be able to take advantage of them. So there is something to be respected in the people that can do this and do it well for a very long period of time. But yeah, obviously I'm in the same boat. I don't have any aspirations to be any kind of gaming fucking whatever. Yeah, it'd be cool to go play like the Halo champion. I mean, the closest I've ever gotten to any kind of tournament play was at Best Buy when Halo 3 came out, or was it 3? I think it was Halo 3. And we went to the midnight release and we played in a tournament, and I think I got like 3rd place. And I'm all right at Halo, but that was fun. But that's it. That's as far as I got, and that's probably I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well. Like, so as far as competitive play, not so much, but having a good time, fuck yeah. I mean, I'm all down for that.
Oh yeah.
As far as the reason of why I love fighting games, I mean, just to kind of wrap this up, I love the strategy behind fighting games, and I also love the one-on-one matchup, because unlike any other game, or unlike most games, the reason that I hate shooters mostly is because there's too many intangibles for online play with multiple players and just random bullshit that comes and hits you.
Yeah.
It's hard. And I will say there are exceptional people that play shooters and stuff that can distinguish themselves and be among the best. But fighting games are an isolated event between 2 players with no other bullshit, no other environmental bullshit. And you really do get to find out who's the best in a series of rounds.
Yeah.
It's very it's like chess, but with punches and kicks, and it's also rock, paper, scissors. It's those two things with punching, kicking, projectiles, all done in a very stylish manner. And it's just something that has been with me probably since, as young as I can remember. And it continues to be my favorite genre of video games ever.
Very well said. And what a great way to end this episode, to cap it off with perfect timing, as usual. Anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, you can listen to more in the same spot you're listening to. You can also listen to, like I said at the beginning, all of our other podcasts that we have at GameRageMagazine.com. If you want to follow Adam, All Gas No Trash Official, and you can follow the organization itself at Game Rage Magazine on Instagram and TikTok. Anyways, that'll wrap it for us. So thanks a lot for sticking around, and we will catch you next time. Congratulations, you survived another episode of the Team Killing Glitchtards. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. Also, subscribe on Twitter/X at Game Rage